speaking at this meeting.
No, this is a special meeting, no public speaking at.
If it's a special meeting, I should have got a notice in the mail that it was a special meeting. I asked you 6 months ago to send me a letter that states we need to have special meetings.
That was my fault.
There's a lot of things that have been
Yeah, I know, there's
your
a lot of
fault.
things, and I apologize for that, sir.
Apologies isn't good enough. It's your job.
Yes, I know, and I'm sorry.
I can't ask if you have bonds yet.
The
Can I
bonds.
ask if you have a bond yet?
Yes,
You have a bond?
yes.
You were supposed to show it to me.
I-
Do you have a bond?
We get
Mr.
our
Bowles?
bonds to, Karma.
Yes, they come through our Artama, and
Mr. Guest, do you have?
We'll take this up at the next meeting because this is a special meeting. We're not allowed to discuss anything on what we have on the agenda.
Fair enough. I should have got notice of that.
I'm sorry, you made the motion for dismissal. I didn't catch you approved it.
I second the motion. All in favor? We did.
So that's it, meeting over?
Meeting over.
All right, can I ask you a question?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Can I ask you a question? Do you have a bond that you're required to have this job?
Yes, sir.
We do.
Our bonds go to Karma and
Why did it take so long to get that answer?
we have to have a bond.
I know you do.
So we get
Why did
to,
it take so long to get that answer?
I didn't realize that we didn't answer the question.
I asked you for copies of them months ago. Well, I'm going to make a public request. Has nothing to do with your meeting, it's just a general public request. I want to see, and I want to make an appointment to see the documents that, give me 1 second. I want to see the book of records for the township roads, the book of records for marks and brands, and the book of records for official oaths and bonds. The township trustees are required to provide that to the fiscal officer every year by the second Monday of January. Have you provided her those things? And if you have, great. I want to make an appointment to see them.
our road maintenance records are all over there.
I want to make an appointment to see them during regular business hours.
What was that second item you requested? to mention?
Brands and marks. You know when they used to brand cows? Brands and marks. You're required to give her a book to keep track of brands and marks.
Brands and marks.
Yeah.
You actually think we have a book that?
I think that you're required by law to provide her one. There may not be anything in it, but you're required by law to provide her one.
I never even heard of it. We've never been asked that question before, so I don't even know,
You see, Bob, that's the thing.
I don't even know what it is.
It's a
To
book.
be honest with you, I don't.
It's a book, a ledger, that you're gonna put on the front cover, brands and marks, for whatever year, for Carthage Township.
Okay. I didn't know such a thing existed.
That's the
didn't either.
problem.
I've been here 20 years,
You've
nobody's
been here
ever
20
said anything
years.
about that.
And you haven't even read the law for
Nope.
what you're supposed to do in your job.
Nobody's ever, not of the fiscal officers ever brought it up.
None of the fiscal officers ever brought it up. Well, the fiscal officer is required to keep a recorded record of your bonds also. And I'll leave it for the meeting. I'll leave it for the meeting, but I talked to a Miss Klein at District 19 of the Ohio Public Works Commission.
Okay,
none of you have registered with the Ohio Public Works to file for grants and loans. You told me at the meeting on December 6th
Yes.
that you were registered. I talked to Ms. Klein, who is in charge of, as a representative from District 19.
Okay.
None
I
of you,
didn't-
none of you is registered. You lied.
I didn't lie.
You did lie. I asked you specifically if you were registered at that website so that you can file for grants and loans. You don't remember that?
We have to be
And you
registered, 'cause
said,
we got a
yes,
grant.
you're registered.
Yes, and I thought we were registered.
Well,
I
you're
mean, you're
not.
telling me not, but I assumed we were.
Well, you're not.
We should be, because we got the claim,
You're
the money
right,
for
you
Georgia
should
Run
be.
slip out there.
You're right, you should be.
So.
Through Ohio
when we-
Public Works.
Well, we hadn't got the money for the slip out there.
It didn't come from Ohio Public Works, did
Yes,
it?
it did.
Okay,
A whole
and
bunch.
you got money for that.
Yeah,
Well, last year.
so we'd have to be registered for it.
And last year, I brought it up numerous times, but last year, I asked you about, or they changed their rules. And you have to register, and you have to do it online. And I have said that for the last 4 meetings at least. And
And I-
nobody's looked into it. You lied. You said you were the one registered. There is nobody registered.
Well, I thought once we registered once, we didn't have to register again.
It's a new process.
But we've
And I
already-
tried to explain the new process to you a dozen times.
We've already applied for more money to them, so
And who did you apply through?
The only one that we have is for the slip that I applied for.
Jordan Run.
Well, Jordan Run and then the one that we
And Young
resubmitted
Road.
for Young Road.
And I believe in August of last year, and I've said this before,
So-
they changed their rules. And in August, well, Baba told you they
Yes,
changed the rules.
and you
You
did.
guys
I
never
re-
listened.
No, and I
You never
remember you
listened.
saying that.
You remember me saying
Yes, I remember
that, but
you
nobody did any research. Nobody checked anything out. Bob, you just sat there and said, you haven't even read the laws in support of this job that you're doing. You never heard of a Brandon Marks book? That's because you haven't read
Nobody's
it.
ever brought up the Brandon Marks book.
Bob, have you looked up the Ohio Revised? Just go to Google.
I'll have to look it up, but I
Go
haven't.
to, okay, go to Google and type in Ohio Township Revised Code or Ohio Township Trustees Revised Code. And it'll bring up a list. And it'll say, and if you bring up her office, it says another list. But it gives you a list of the laws that apply to you. And you've never even looked. You've done it this way for 20 years. Doesn't mean it's right.
I didn't say it was right.
But you don't have the gall to get up and look and see.
Meeting's over.
This isn't a meeting. I'm talking to you as a citizen.
Well, I don't have to take your harassment.
This isn't harassment. This is me
I
talking.
said I would look into it, that's all I'm gonna do.
Well, you haven't looked at anything yet. And I would still like to make an appointment to view those things that I asked for.
Well, we'll have to figure out what that road, that Marks thing is first.
Yeah? No, you don't have to figure it out. You're supposed to give her a book every year. There's nothing to figure out. You're supposed to give her a book to keep track of road maintenance. You're supposed to give her a book to keep track of oaths and bonds. She is supposed to file her bond with the treasurer of the county. I talked to the treasurer of the county today. She looked for a half hour and she couldn't find it.
Yes, I know. I got a message from the attorney, and I have it right here to send over to them. We have what they call faithful performance of duties now. We don't have bonds.
Yeah,
We
I
have
know. I know, you can do that. Did you pass a resolution
For what?
to take out an insurance policy for it?
No.
Well, you're supposed to. if you're not gonna use the bond, you're supposed to pass a resolution to take out an insurance policy to cover for the bond. Did you do that?
No.
You're supposed to by law. You took extra time for these two things today to make sure that all your P's and Q's were crossed and in proper order so that you could get more money. You're not managing the money that you already have. You went out of your way to make sure that this was all just perfect because they would reject it otherwise. You're responsible to somebody else for this. But when you're not responsible for somebody else, you don't give a shit.
Well, that's not true.
It is true. It is true in my opinion because that's what you've shown. So you're all saying you have an insurance policy in place for bond. Is that what you're saying?
No, we have bonds.
That's not what you just said.
The bonds change. We don't have, they changed the bonds. I will read you the email that I received from Wendy after I sent it to
whom?
her.
You-
I sent it to, the lady's name is Wendy French. She is through our town. She is the lady that anytime we have insurance questions, we send the information to her and she gets the information back to us. So I said, Wendy, I know that at some point in time, she had sent me a copy of the bonds. I could not find them in my email. I need to submit it to the auditor's office. Do I need to have it notarized? She said, good evening, Gail. You don't need to have bonds any longer. You have faithful performance of duty coverage for all elected officials. You can give the auditor the attachment. The attachment is here, which is what we received last year. It's for $110,000. It says 2621 trustee Ransom Calloway. 10/28/2021 trustee Robert Pullins. 1/1/2022 trustee William Guest. 2621 fiscal officer Melita Gale Dunn.
So it's not a bond.
No, it's a faithful performance of duty coverage.
Coverage, meaning insurance.
It means that if
You have an insurance policy that takes the place of the bond. Is that what you're saying?
we have a faithful performance of duty coverage.
Which is insurance. You're not comprehending what I'm saying. You have insurance to cover your faithful performance of your job in place of a bond. And that's perfectly legal if you've made a resolution that that's what the township is going to do. But you can't just do it because you want to. You have to make a resolution saying that you're going to use an insurance policy instead of a bond. You better look into it.
Okay, and I will, sir.
You haven't looked into anything else.